Happy Wednesday afternoon. Welcome to Second Lap. I don't have an updated total mile distance, but I did look at last week and I averaged 69 miles last week, or it was just shy of 10 miles a day. A couple of days were a little over, a couple of days were a little under, but still doing that. I've investigated the weight room and I'm going to start adding in the weights. But more importantly is today I wanted to talk to Ronnie, who's I would put on a similar journey of making himself better, getting the most out of his meat suit. You know, those are the phrases that I would use. I'm on and I haven't done it yet today. I know it's exciting because I'm doing video a day 13, lucky 13
Nice.
for Ronnie. So I'm excited about that. I'm doing that a little bit later. But yeah, I was gonna say I wanted to catch up with you. You've had sell a house, buy a house, move, buy a business. I mean, you have taken as many grenades on as you can. How are you doing? Bring me up to on Ronnie versus Robbie.
Doing good. Yeah, you could say the summer was full of grenades, whether it was taking over the business, trying to sell a house that was flooded and dealing with all of that stuff. Thankfully, like we went through and to kind of speed through at least like the home sale process. We had we found out that our basement was flooded on the 11th showing, and that was after getting an offer on the house, and they ended up backing out of it. Yet we had this house already kind of locked in and were worried about losing it. So that was kind of this ongoing stress in my mind. Am I going to lose this dream house that would be perfect for us? But yet we're stuck in this POS that we couldn't get out of. But thankfully, shout out to my realtor, Marie, who works with Berkshire Hathaway. They had a program called Quick Buy. So essentially, they purchased the house for a much smaller amount for the initial payment, which got us here. It was enough to get us into the house. And actually, with today being the 17th, in 2 days, the house actually sells. And then we will get a second check based on the profit and the work that they put into the house. They put a new roof.
Oh, wow.
Did a bunch of stuff. And so I will end up getting a check at the end of the day, probably right around the beginning of the year, for kind of that profit margin that they kind of would give. And it would be a decent sized check. So thankfully, that's almost finally complete. But yeah, that was an interesting summer to go through all of that. And in the midst of purchasing Eye Magnet and trying to get Gale Force off the ground. So a lot of different things. And it was a trying time. And I mentioned to a buddy yesterday, stress kind of brings a lot of things to the surface. And whether it's with my relationship with my wife or my son or just in general with business partners, thankfully, I was able to kind of manage that and have, at least from what I'm thinking, decent communication with everybody to try to work through things and get through it, because in my mind's eye, I knew I'd be sitting here in this house and with like at least a good vantage point and not feel like I was completely drained of money and time and energy. So yeah, it's been quite a time. And then once I kind of got in here and settled, it was like, okay, now, like you said, let's take care of the meat suit so that I can do this more, live longer, live with more energy, have more passion for different things. And that's kind of set me on this new path. And Thanksgiving was kind of a turning point in my mind of, hey, you got to face some facts and deal with some stuff. So yeah, it's been quite a journey, but I'm thankful to kind of go through it, because now I feel like, hey, there's lots that I can give from different experiences and things that I've dealt with. And whether you want to hear it or not, I'm going to share it.
Whether you want to hear it or not, I like that. I'm sometimes, I said, you see what you seek. That was one of my words. And I think that you're also going to find your people. I think that consistency, that's why I'm continuing to do the days and shouting you out and hopefully helping us both. So you move, you're relocated, you're in, call it the next chapter of your book. You've been doing these smoothies. And I've been a smoothie person. I've tried, Smoothie Kings in the past and other smoothie vendor places where you can go and have the banana or add protein or
Yep.
add wheatgrass. I'm trying to think of all the different things that they've, hey, you need this in order to do it. And I've been through a lot of that. I'm dedicating the majority of my calories right now to protein. So I haven't jumped back on it, but I'm curious, have you found what is the biggest surprise that you've found from the smoothies, both in I didn't know I could hide this, or just that have kind of blown you away? Like, is there a certain like lime, or is there a certain citrus, or is there something that kills the Freddy Fooey shit that I don't want to eat, if that makes sense?
Sort of. I think it's twofold as far as kind of the big things I've noticed. I think for me, having sugar cravings, and that's been something like I mentioned from Thanksgiving, whether it's like just things I decided I needed to start eliminating, whether it was weed, porn, whatever it might be, kind of sugar, carbs. There's different things. Obviously, food wise, there's different things that can give you certain benefits. But to me, the biggest kind of realization has been like the appetite suppression from doing some of these smoothies so that I'm not snacking on my kids' fruit snack. I'm not going for the bag of chips like I used to. I'm feeling full. I feel I'm not hungry. I don't feel weak. And I think that's a lot of things that I'm trying to build up. I had a really good conversation with my buddy Arya last night, just kind of on the workout side of things, just because I started posting some workout videos.
Right.
And I'm not in bulk mode right now. I lifted a ton in high school. I was like squatting, benching, probably what some of the linemen were doing for a smaller guy. And so that was just one of the things I focused on then. And then I kind of became like a 5K runner, racer, and then I blew out both my Achilles. And so from then it's kind of hard to get back into that kind of deal. I did manage to run 5Ks each time 3 months after surgery. So that kind of competitiveness against myself has kind of always been there. But as far as trying to bulk load and do the protein stuff, right now, it's not what I'm focused on. I think for me, it's been lowering my food intake on the bad things. Let's get more good stuff into my system. And so, and the second part would be seeing the things that are coming out of me. And so some of the different worms and different things, I'm like, oh man, that beet got this stuff out. And so that kind of set me on like, I know there's other stuff inside of me. And I know people are like, oh no, if you've got this, you need to go to the doctor. And I'm like, I'm just going to continue on kind of making sure I'm putting healthy things in, because if things are coming out, that's to me a positive. It's a net positive versus kind of going to McDonald's and just dealing with it and kind of ignoring it. It's like, I know that there's other stuff. So that's why we had talked through text about some of the parasite cleanses and stuff that I purchased and I'm looking forward to trying out, just because we've been lied to, we've been manipulated, decepted into thinking that, no, you're healthy, like eat this, eat the 3 square meals a day, like you need all this food. And it's like, you don't need all of this food. Like, yes, there's things, if you have a set workout regimen, then yes, you need to replenish and have that protein. And then for me, I've had eggs and started added in steak. I made a bunch of carne asada steak this week, so I kind of pepper that into my breakfast. But to me, it's like, hey, if I can get healthier fruits and stuff into my body that are going to help strip whatever's in my gut and help it along, then I'm going to move it towards that. I haven't gotten into the AG1s or adding anything into my smoothie. Right now, it's just been pure fruit and or vegetable. I'll work my way up to that. I mentioned my buddy, like right now, I'm kind of stripping myself down to a base. And then I'll start building myself back up probably end of Q1. I think right now I've just been focused on, let's just clean the crap that's in me, get it out, like, and try to make sure I feel the best that I can feel. And for somebody I'm sure there's lots of friends that have known me, I've always been kind of the Energizer bunny of the friend groups, just because I've had energy. I sleep really well. I've never had an issue with sleep. And I think that's been a big part of it. But As far
So
as
your
doing,
sleeping hasn't been affected by any of your smoothies or any of the things that you've done so far?
no, I think, and it's
No?
funny hearing from another buddy, like after I was not doing the weed, you start dreaming a lot more and having more vivid dreams and different things like that. So that kind of
Right.
got me inspired. I was like, okay, this is another reason why I need to stop doing this or limit it or kind of put it much more selected. But I've, since I was little, I've always had really good sleep and been blessed and thankful for that, just because I think that's the key to so much of things.
I agree. I think we one of our biggest signals was always, you'll sleep when you're dead. You don't need sleep. My grandpa was always, so proud of only sleeping 6 hours a night. And it's like, I like sleeping 7.5 hours. I like to get the rest. I think we were taught one thing, and all it was doing was pushing us into the grave sooner. I had somebody honk at me already. I had some other people who've done some things, and I'm, walking by some people. So if I'm
Yeah,
doing funny faces,
it's weird how my sleep is. I think last night I went to bed at 11 and after watching some Taskmaster and
okay,
like popped up at 6 this morning. So yeah, I'm right around that 6, 7. I think I've stopped laying in bed once I wake up. It's hey, get up. Like your body is telling you it's completed its cycle. It's time to kind of go do something. And so I think that's at least helped the I don't use an alarm clock, but I'm up before 6:15 usually every day, and my body just knows to get up. And it's like, okay,
can we lean into that? Let's lean into that because I'm actually feeling the exact same way. Like I'm going to bed at 9:30 usually, and I'm up between 4:45 and
mm,
5:05. It's usually like you said. My leaning in is the old me, or the way that I used to live would be like, hey, I'm just gonna lay here and maybe I'll fall back asleep and I'm gonna whatever. I'm just gonna sort of, I guess, waste away, as opposed to when my eyes open, it's like it's 4:45. Sleep cycle is an hour, hour and a half. So, it's going to put me well past the next sort of deal. So I just get up. Right. And I think just getting up is huge. So I'm just making sure we lead into the fact that if you wake up and you're laying there in bed, just laying there, dwelling your life away isn't really helping.
and it's mental. I think that's a big part of it, whether you're depressed or going through like a harder patch of time, you don't want to get up. And for
Right.
me right now, I'm enjoying every single day that I get. And so I'm up. I'm like, all right, what do we got planned today? Where's my list of things that I need to do? And so
Yep.
to me, I want to be useful. And I think that's kind of the big part of wanting to wake up in the last few days. It's been all right. Like, and I think to you, I've got, or Brian, of all right, go do some push-ups. And so like 3 days ago, the first thing I did was just I woke up and immediately out of the bed did some push-ups. And
Right.
last couple of days now, I'm up and I have time with Jack before we go to school. And usually I would just sit there and scroll. And so now I'm like, hey, you've got a treadmill downstairs. Why don't you go use it? You've got weights downstairs. Like, go
Yep.
use it. Instead of being teenage me when my dad had all of the exact same things that I had now and I just didn't
Right.
use it. And so
Right.
it's like you paid money to the owner of this house to keep that treadmill. Like let's go run a mile or go walk like a little bit. And so I think that's been a big part of wanting to get up and feeling like, hey, you've got this day, let's attack it. Let's figure out
Yep.
what to do. And I think that's been a big having that mental state when you wake up and thinking like today's a good day versus like, oh, I've got to go to work. I've got to do this. Like then you just want to sit there. And I get that. If you're not enjoying what you're doing, not enjoying the people you work with, it's going to
Right.
drain.
Yes, I agree with all that. I pulled over here on the side because I think I've still got good signal and good audio. I think exactly. I think we are the loudest voice in our head. I think we get to choose how we enter the day. I consume all of your content, and a couple of things, where you were talking about, sort of the deep breaths in the morning. A lot of people will call it a mantra, but like how you're addressing yourself, how you're, deciding to look at things. I'm always consistently repeating, be grateful for what you have, as opposed to just being happy and loud about what you're missing, or and I'm being a little bit sarcastic there because they're not usually being happy about what they don't have. They're usually complaining about what they don't have as opposed to being grateful for what they do. So um, it's been rewarding and it's been good, and I've been glad to consume yours. I've tried not to paraphrase too much of what you've done. At the same time, you've had some good, topics that I've wanted to also voice on, but I have been trying to come up with some of my
Well,
own. Do you come up with them like as you pull the camera out of your pocket, or are you Ronnie that's got 50 prepared? These are the things I want to talk over time, and you just choose when as you walk out the door.
typically it's what moves me with it's a little bit of both. I'd say it's much more coming up with it at the top of my head and as
Okay.
I'm pulling up the camera, but typically I'm usually recording those after I've dropped them off. So I'm usually mulling over how do I want to phrase this, or how do
Right.
and it like I mentioned today, the more that you do, the easier it gets. And you kind
Right.
of there's less there's less you have this coherent thought or
Right.
message that you want to get out, and it just kind of flows, thankfully, lately. But with the new ones that I've started doing for Eye Magnet, like the marketing tips, those I have a chat or my Claude AI.
Okay.
He's given me probably 40 different topics, and I'll go in and say, hey, can you dig into this one a little bit more? Give me some source data, so I'm not just kind of sounding like I'm making it up. I actually
Right.
have data to reinforce.
References.
So I'm doing a little bit of both, but I'm also realizing not everybody just wants to hear me coach speak at them all day. So I need to have highlight clips, and I need to kind of work on those, because I'm seeing more of that with like the one I posted yesterday with McGregor kind of having his quote, and it's captivating people a little bit differently. And so I think you have to have a mix. I've always said a rule of three different styles of content. It's what I tell my clients. It's like, if you're going to start doing video content, you can sit down, do a podcast, and like we're doing here, we'll cut this up and be in different clips, but that can't be the only thing, because that's going to attract only one version of people that are looking for that content. Some people are looking for that highlight clip. Some people are looking for the workout stuff, the smoothie stuff, whatever it might be. Right. And so giving people a variety of what you have and finding that personal brand. And again, I'll give a highlight and a shout out to my buddy Arya. He 2 years ago, it's like, you have to define your personal brand if you're going to try to create business brands and that you are also a part of. And so that's been a big part of it. But yeah, it's funny, circling back to what we were talking about before, being grateful. I think you as a military member, and a lot of people, when you go off to sea and you see or anybody that's traveled and seen the world, you're so much more appreciative of what we have here. And I think that's a big part of my day since it was 2003 of coming back August and completing a cycle or tour in Iraq. And you've seen like the houses, you saw the kids begging for food and water, and the houses that were destroyed and stuff. Granted, that was us, but still, there's that gratefulness of realizing like we're so lucky to go to a grocery store and see a variety of colors when you walk in, that of the fruits and vegetables, and just you have this abundance that's just right there. And there's so many people in this world that don't have that. And I think that's just something that is glazed over by so many Americans, and thinking like, I'm deserving of this. I need to have this. Like you mentioned, like, I don't have this, but I need to have my meta glasses or whatever, like purchase that's going to end up in the trash in 4 years that is useless, yet you need to have it now. And so I think I love my raggedy Wrangler jeans and my nondescript shirts just because it's comfortable. I don't care what it says. And so just be grateful that you have clothes on your back and heat on in the house. And so that's a big part of just thinking and feeling like, hey, I'm happy today. Like this is, I'm able to go out and do what I want and have fun.
I mean, I was going to say, as you were talking through there, it gives it gives us perspective of why we latch on to Gary, who talks about, 1 million or 1 billion people not having clean water.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of feel like we understand that better than others that haven't had the like, I guess, exposure. I wish there was a way to give more people, sort of and when I talk about this, and I'm live on X, so shout out to anybody listening, and hopefully I don't offend anybody, but I think when you get done with high school, there should be some sort of a 2-year something, like,
Yeah,
military is obviously.
they're fearful of going anywhere. They're afraid of taking that plane. They're afraid of being in a country that they don't know, or being alone, and fear controls them. That's
Right.
I think the biggest part is just overcoming that fear, punch it in the face, and just it. And granted, it's in your head. I just watched the Kobe thing. Like, you're the only one creating that fear. Like, yes, there are bad things that can happen out there, but you have to just acknowledge the good things that are happening too.
Yeah. Well, it's just when you say that out loud, Ronnie, it's just completely opposite of the messaging, the news, and the other media and all the things that tell us how we're supposed to feel is. Like, they want us to be led by fear, the bird flu, swine flu, El Nino. I mean, I'm just trying to go back to all the different things I can think of since of a youth where we can't do that because this is what's going to happen to you. And it's like, what are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't think any of that shit ever did it happen to any. I mean, obviously there were people that were affected, but we blow things up such that, something that you would have to swallow 3 pills worth, if it just touches your skin, all of a sudden you're, I don't know where I'm going with this. I think they've been trying to control us with fear forever. And I think it's why my messaging is the way it is.
And yeah, I agree. I think there's bad things that could happen, but that's how you're going to learn how to overcome whatever is going to happen to you in the future. And if you sit there and you close yourself off, you're more susceptible to even more fear, more depression. And it's like, get out there and meet somebody, shake somebody's hand. I feel kind of cooped up in my house where I want to go out and talk to people. I think Cadeau put it good in his post the other day about, like, once you go to those events, whether it's SEMA or VCon, whatever it is, you've got that vibe and energy, and that you want to, like, yes, I needed to have that interaction with those people. And it's happened with us. We met at VCon, and meeting Cadeau, and then meeting Brian, and everybody that kind of was around Patrick's atmosphere. Like, they're all positive people, and we all kind of had this idea of, like, hey, we want to better ourselves, and let's try to be better tomorrow. And that's not, like you said, not what you're seeing. And that's why I don't watch the news. I've created my feed. I'd say I curated my own feed to make sure that I'm not seeing negative stuff or negative people complaining about things. Because if you just sit there, yeah, you're going to wallow and see the misery and the sorrow of the world, which, yeah, it's out there, but I'm trying to make sure that my son doesn't deal with that stuff, or my wife, or my friends. It's like, how can I help them? And it's like, me having a pity party is not going to help anybody. It's like, I need to show, hey, I'm happy and confident about my life. You can too. And so that's a hard hurdle and a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people. But yeah, you just stop watching the news, man. You're being controlled.
My mother reached out to me, I think less than a week ago. They're in the Seattle area. And I guess, literally the water has been washing the city away. And
yeah,
so she sends me this message. We're okay. We haven't washed away. We're all right. We're okay. And so I called her and I'm like, what's going on? And she told me the thing. And I'm like, Mom, I don't watch the news. I had no idea. Like, and I'm happy you're okay. And I know that you're going to reach out and tell me you're okay. So I don't need to get the news, but yeah, I have to stay away from it. We don't gain anything happy from the news ever.
And they try to put, like, the last 2 minutes, like, oh, there's this happy dog for your moment of the day. It's like, okay, thanks. But you just went through about the 15 murders and the court cases and the corrupt politician and all of this other stuff. And then you try to make sure you end it on a high note to cover it up. So that's the last thing people remember, even though you've inundated us with all of this terrible stuff.
It doesn't work that way. That last 2 minutes, it's window dressing. It's parsley. It's not going to make us okay. Yeah. So yes, stay off the news. We talked about food. We talked about sleeping. I see you walking and doing a lot of your videos outside, even with the snow, walking on the treadmill. Are you, and I saw some of your like calisthenics, things like that. I think I'm saying that right in one of the posts. Are you doing stuff with weights?
I'm trying to, yeah. Like the last couple of days, I went to Target to try to find some bigger weights. I need to go probably just order some, but yeah, I've got two 10-pound weights. I try to do a lot of like just shoulder work.
Right.
I've got a bench press that came with the house, and then like the treadmill. But yeah, just I know I need to do more of those kind of physical strength training workouts versus just straight cardio. Just
Right.
because, like we've said, I want to make sure my muscles are strong when I'm 85 to get up off the ground if I want to play with some grandkids. But that's kind of my motivation, as well as like I've always said, I've since I was 10, I've told myself I'm going to live to 125. And so
125. I like that.
It's if I fail and I make it to 115, that's fine. It's going to be a great life. If I fail to 95, I think that's still amazing. So, but I need to make sure that I'm taking care of things now so that I'm not being reactive at 65, 70 for certain things that have happened that I could have started making a change on it now.
Let me ask you the weirdest question then. Do you feel that you and I should be doing stuff for our skin at our age, with seeing people's, call it the weakest link of an 80-year-old, I think, is the skin and the condition of their skin? Are you thinking about that kind of stuff yet?
Yes, I have African American hair, so my head is I get many tight curls, and so one of the things I've started doing is using like rosemary oil and stuff, and that's more for itching irritation. I'm not a huge lotion guy, just because I don't know what's all in the chemicals that I'm rubbing on. It's like I'm already taking a shower in chlorinated water, so it's like who knows? And I think that might be a part of it too. I as we mentioned, like with some of the stuff, I ordered some hydrogen tabs. I know that they provided like hydrogen bath bombs and stuff, so that might be something down the road to kind of reacclimate whatever we're showering under.
Sure.
But as far as, I think that there are some essential oils I've done. What is it? Castor oil, black castor oil, I know has been one that's been beneficial. Some tea tree oils. I think that there is something there. It's not something I've really dived into. I'm just trying to make sure I'm decently hydrated and putting in, like I said, all of those natural items, because I'm hoping, obviously I've got bags under my eyes. I've got all of these wrinkles from always wondering and questioning things. So I think I've always known I'm going to be wrinkly, but I really don't care. I've got this dot. So it's like, if I'm worried about my wrinkles, I think I should be on a health wise, but not so much as far as an aesthetic, cosmetically, the way that I look. I'm not really too concerned, but I think that's a good question. And I think it's something that I now will probably do research on and kind of look up and see, because I think there is something to that as far as feeling good in your skin, as far as that goes.
Well, my dad, love my dad. He's 20 years older than I am, but like the guy bumps into the edge of any piece of furniture and his skin tears and he's fragile. And I'm trying I love my dad to death, and I'm trying to learn everything I can from lessons that I've watched him, from the age I am now all the way to where he's now. And I'm just trying to think out loud. So for me, the question was, and you answered it the way I was looking, it was less about, call it my ego or my wrinkles. I tell everybody my crow's feet are sexy. That's my Magnum PI, older. Yeah, my grayness, right? I talk about that, but it's less about that aspect and more this, just your skin is your largest organ. We had a family member that just passed away from melanoma, like skin cancer, and then it was melanoma that went to her brain. So I want to take care of my skin. And so I'm thinking more along that lines. Do I bathe in coconut oil and rub coconut oil on my body as a natural thing, as opposed to, as you said, the chlorinated water and sitting in the tub and just soaking in what, the fluoride and all the other things that they decide to put me in. So yeah, I think you answered it, and I'm also going to do some research. So let's keep that as an open topic of anything we kind of find or notice about that kind of stuff.
I think, like you mentioned, I think it's a big part is what we're putting into our body too. So whether it's you're taking fish oil pills, and whether it's vitamin E, vitamin D for the different things. I know we've talked
Yep.
about like the amino acids and stuff. So I think
Yep.
there is something with that as well, not only on the topical stuff that you'd be putting on, but also some of the supplements I think would probably help aid with that. And we now have more research on different things as far as keeping the mitochondria stronger and
Right.
at a cellular level, which I think is what inevitably ends up like causing some of those issues with the skin, is that it's not as strong as it could be because it's
Right.
because of what it's been fed. And so that's definitely something I'm trying to work on as well.
Awesome. I'm interested to hear about the H2 tabs. I'm trying to think of the guy, Gary, what's his
Brecca.
name? Yeah. I'm when I went to get them, because I am that sucker. I mean, I have a monthly budget. I'll say it out loud. I have a monthly budget of science project stuff where I'll try something, and I've done like DOSE, the stuff that's supposed to cleanse your liver. I've done a couple of, call them 3-week deals, and then the grocery store I go to actually now carries, I can get one bottle so I can take it, a week here and there. So I have a budget for that kind of stuff just to see if I can find it. And sometimes I don't feel anything. I would tell you I do feel different with the fish oil. And I'm probably 5 years every day religiously been taking it. That and a couple other items that I think is really helped, like my fingernails. Like I have to cut my fingernails more often than I did when I was younger. And it probably make me sound like a crazy person, but I actually feel like my body's healing. Like certain places where I had scars, I can feel like where it's trying to push the suture that they put in there out of my body, that kind of thing. It's feels like it's repairing itself. And I'm due to what you're saying. Good sleep, good food, good mentality. Like having the right things up here is almost as important as what you put in your belly.
Yeah, and that's why I went on my science trip of kind of buying a bunch of stuff. I'm very curious. Like I said, I get great sleep, but I want to try this earthing sheet, and that's like the grounded. And
the grounding, yeah.
I really am excited about. I've got the cold plunge coming. So there's a lot of different things that I think and I think the cold plunge could be something that helps with the skin as well, because it's kind of shocks all of those cells into thinking like,
right.
Oh, we're about to die. We're in a frozen river. We need to expel everything so that we can save ourselves. So I think that there's something with that as well. But right. Yeah, to me, it's if you're just doing the same thing every day and not trying, you're going to slowly deteriorate, like unless you're trying to fight against this. And so that's why it's like, hey, I'll be a guinea pig for a while for people and try some of these things. I've got a fairly strong body, no prescriptions. I've lost a bunch of weight, and like I said, I'm energized. I feel healthy, so I feel like I'm not the pristine human, but I think I'm higher up, top 10% as far as like feeling comfortable in my body and understanding what I can do with it. And I know that I'm not happy with the status quo isn't good enough. I want it to be better. If whatever, my mind can do different things in the future because of what I'm able to do, great. And that's kind of what I'm aiming for. So I'm excited for all the stuff that's coming. And I think that's, and having collaboration with other people and learning, I think that's another big part of it, because otherwise you're not going to know unless someone shares what their experiences have been.
Right. I hear you. And I will save it for next time, but I'm even on this path with deodorant.
Yep.
My bride and I have tried multiple different kinds around the globe from different places, most in paper packaging as opposed to the plastic packaging. Some that I would tell you, and I said we could share next time, but some that I tell you, if I don't put this deodorant on as soon as I get out of the shower, if I get just an ounce of smell, like it will never cover it up ever. Like there's that kind of natural, like, hey, you just have to get right in front of it, to some that's like, man, I miss, and I'm gonna close out like this because people are probably gonna hear me say, I miss antiperspirant. I just miss having my shirts not look like, I just ran to get to the meeting. And because I think too much, and I don't think people realize this, but this thing is the biggest user of energy in your stupid body. And so when I do this, I pit out. And it's like, fuck, really miss antiperspirant just because even with a t-shirt underneath, I mean, maybe I'm healthy. Someday you'll tell me, Robbie, it's great that you sweat that much because you're healthy.
I think there is something to that. I do aluminum-free deodorant. I do fluoride-free toothpaste. I need to get better at the right toilet paper. So
Yeah,
I think
me too.
there are different things that we can do. But yeah, you got to play around with it. I pit out a bunch of shirts too. I realized like, oh wow, like I'm wondering like, see that right there, you can see it. So I'm the same way.
I'm not showing you mine.
So that's why I pitched the sweatshirt earlier because I'm like, because of the workout this morning, my body heat's still rising, and so and I did a bunch of work this morning. So I think there is some truth to that. I don't know if it's healthy, but I think it's your body regulating itself is in whatever way it's going to. And I laughed because I walked into the bathroom and my shorts are drying from my workout this morning, and it immediately like triggered like, oh, like this is what I smelled when I walked into my dad's workout stuff, and it's like, oh, here we go. Like I've fallen under the same thing, and I smell the same. So I think there is something to that, but I think that's a healthy part of life.
I agree. Hey, thank you for doing this.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And we will talk again soon.
Sounds good.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Take care.
All right, be safe. All right, see you. Bye.